Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Queen of Crime, a Korean crime drama thriller comedy from 2016. Mi-kyung, played by Ji-young Park, runs a small hair salon. Her son, Ik-soo, played by Dae-hyun Kim, is preparing for the bar exam and is staying at an apartment for bar exam students. So Mi-kyung learns from her son that he has just received a 1.2 million won, or 1,100 US dollar, water bill. And she's stunned by this, obviously, and decides to go to the apartment complex to find out more details. There, Mi-kyung senses that something isn't quite right and begins to investigate. So this actually begins with a pretty interesting opening shot where we follow the water pipes inside of the apartment complex. We hear the different neighbors talking or complaining about stuff. Then we see a young man, not the son of our protagonist, studying a law book, but having difficulty concentrating due to all the loud noises coming from the neighboring apartments. So he gets angry, storms out of the room, presumably to confront the neighbors. Then we cut to our lead protagonist, the lady, who promptly breaks up a domestic dispute at her hair salon. And you can tell that this lady doesn't take any crap from people because she steps right up to an angry man and threatens him with an injection needle of some kind. So then she gets a phone call from her son talking about this water bill. So she travels out to Seoul to visit him and check things out. And that's where things get dodgy here. You know, she meets the shady apartment manager, and then she sees blood droplets at certain points in certain areas. So what exactly is going on in this place, and why is that water bill so high? So the tone of The Queen of Crime is kind of on the light side, I would say. You know, it does avoid wackiness and forced laughs, though, so it doesn't get too crazy. The comedy is very tempered. You know, it's based more on, situational humor and irony more than anything else. So, for example, this lady protagonist makes a mistake at one point and gets dragged to the local police station. And the cops tell her, you're going to have to wait for your guardian to show up. And as it turns out, her son walks in, and he has to be the guardian to basically sign her release. So usually it's the other way around, right? Usually you have a younger kid making a mistake, getting dragged to the police station, and the mother comes as the guardian and signs him out. So it's that type of role reversal to the norm, ironic kind of comedy that you can expect from this type of film. This is not a film that will make you laugh out loud, I don't think, but it's certainly amusing throughout. And we know how these kinds of films usually play out, but The Queen of Crime does a good job of being unusual. It's difficult to predict what's going on in the apartment complex and what kinds of conflicts or dangers will emerge, even what the ending will be, really. I mean, our lead interacts with a bunch of people at this place. She hits some dead ends in her investigation early on, so I think the investigative element does work well to this, and I was intrigued while watching it, so that's a good thing. Some of the characters that she teams up with in her little investigation are pretty interesting as well. There's this one guy who sits outside of the apartment complex, and he basically monitors who comes and goes. He's just a resident there, but he likes to monitor people because he plays this little bingo game where, the people who leave the apartment, he'll X off their apartment on a mat, and if they line up, then he wins against himself. So that was not something you typically see in a film. You get stuff like that in this. I liked all the performances. The actress Ik-soo has a supporting role, and it's always nice to see her. I like the presentation as well. For example, there's a flashback involving Ik-soo's character, and the ending of the flashback kind of blends into the present day. Little bells and whistles like that, I think, are appreciated by viewers. It helps to keep things moving and interesting. One thing I didn't really like about this son character is that this son would complain about his mom investigating this ridiculous water bill. Because he wants to focus on studying for the bar exam. He doesn't want distractions, but his mom, she wants to know what's going on. If I'm paying this $1,000 water bill, why am I paying this much? Usually it's $50 or something, at least where I'm at. So, but the son gets mad at her for asking questions. You know what I mean? Because he's kind of embarrassed by her. But, you're still asking your mom to pay $1,000 water bill for you. So, I think it was in her right to, ask some questions and figure out, what the heck's going on here. right, before actually paying the bills. So that's one thing I didn't like about him, but he does have some animosity towards his mom because of certain historical problems between them, and there's some animosity there. So it does go into the character dynamics between the two, but I still found him to be a little bit, inconsiderate at times to his mom. But I do think The Queen of Crime is like a nice little genre bender. If you're someone who does not like tonal shifts in films, you got nothing to worry about in this. It's a very smooth movie. It moves between scenes that are like a little bit humorous, then it'll go to another scene that's a little bit dramatic, then it'll go to another scene that's maybe a little bit creepy, but it doesn't go too far in any one direction. It has a nice, comfortable, even tone, I think. And it's nicely crafted, I think, overall. But on the other hand, if you're someone who wants like an intense thriller, where you want the thrills to be intense and legit, or you want the comedy to be like laugh out loud funny, maybe the Queen of Crime will be a little bit too relaxed for you. This is kind of a relaxed film, I think. So take that into consideration when you're thinking about whether or not you'd like to sit down and watch it. But I do recommend this. I enjoyed it. And it's currently available on Amazon streaming, at least in the United States. And as always, we'll see you next time.